Hey everybody, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain
And
Foley.
I am Commander Cockins and Stuart. Let's go back in time to 2001 for the space odyssey of Starship concept looking at in this.
That was really awful. I had a much better back in time to 2001 joke.
Well, let's jump back to the start of this episode. Hey guys, I'm Commander Cockins.
Too late now. The time machine's circuits are fried. We can't do it. We're going to be looking at a piece of Star Trek history, Star Trek gaming history specifically, and something therein. So not only looking at, we're going to talk about the main thing and then talk about the more detailed thing inside it. We're talking about a game and a ship within that game. There you go.
So, you've heard of Deep Space Nine,
I have. I think I may have heard about that.
but have you heard of Star Trek Deep Space Nine Dominion Wars, the video game?
I have indeed, yes. It's one I never actually had, though, which is odd. Because I had most of the other Star Trek games.
No, I mean, the exact same boat. I've known of it. I never got to play it. I don't know why. And even, like, I've never even seen a physical copy. Even through all the years of whatevering, it's never popped on my radar, which is weird. And yet it is ship combat. And I will say I did know about this ship before this episode, the Achilles class, which we're looking at today. I have seen it, probably because it's been on other games or Bridge Commander mods or things, but I recognise it. And I want to do it very early, because it's an old game, and so renders and such are quite sporadic. I'm sure there's a fan mod out there somewhere which we want to look at in later detail with scales and stuff, but I want to take a first look, because this is a 2001, right there in the heart of Trek, designed to be post-TNG, or at least in TNG, advanced craft. And I've got the concept art. So first image is obviously the cover, that's the game, go play it. Second image is, the ship in motion. Do you know the ship? Do you remember the ship? Do you have any memories of this ship?
I remember seeing it around, and I didn't know what it was from necessarily. But then I found out, it was Dominion War. And that's that's why I never actually remember playing anything with it in. I remember seeing it and thinking it's pretty interesting design. I think it's the only picture I've ever seen of it. So I would need to see other angles and stuff, obviously.
Well, there's the concept art, Stuart, which I was able to track down. And here are some views. Now, I'm intrigued by this one. But let me give you some facts first on Memory Beta, just so you have a little bit more context. The Achilles class was a type of Federation strategic heavy cruiser that saw service in the late 24th century. The Achilles is one of Starfleet's more combat-oriented vessels. The vessel was heavily armoured and armed, and was designed to combat multiple hostile vessels at once. The prototype was launched in 2373, before the start of the Dominion War, and would soon prove itself useful, and production began. A number of these vessels were in the Dominion War, length of 612 metres, and armed with pulse phasers, phaser arrays, torpedo launchers, a micro-torpedo phalanx array.
Nice.
So
Don't know what that means, but there you go.
But there's some information. Now you've got a slight sense. What do you think of this design?
I mean, from the front and the top, or the 3/4, it looks good. It's got some cool shapes to it, but the side, it just looks like a steam runner, which I cannot stand that profile. I gotta say, I hate the steam runner for that reason.
Yes, this is an odd ship. I get the sense that we had First Contact, we had obviously DS9. They took the idea of let's make it more pointy, aggressive, but they kept the Axiega style of the side view and the front view that very flat. And the 3/4 is definitely interesting, but it's lost so much anything with the side and front view. All that potential. I'm not sure what necessarily you do with it, but it's a very odd ship. Do you think it, fits the big, heavy, big battlecruiser role? I'm thinking where the warp nacelles are so small and so spindle, as in so comparatively small. Is the battleship role making so much sense? I mean, it's confusing.
I mean, it's got nice long phaser strips. It said in the description it was well armored. So, I mean, yes, it fits that role for me. You can see a few design influences here. Like I said, from the side, it's very much a steam runner, which I don't know why you would even want that. It's like one of the worst ships in Star Trek history, in my opinion. But anyway, from other views, you got some Intrepid Sovereign class details, both Intrepid and Sovereign mixed in there. So, I mean, it's kind of like the new member of the fleet, which for Dominion Wars makes sense. It's kind of that Borg attack fleet kind of thinking. But yeah, I don't know. Lengthening your nacelles a bit, change the profile so there's some dimensionality to it instead of just a ruler.
But we've talked about how, like with the E and such, and obviously the Norway and things, the squatter profile means less of a target. I mean, maybe the thought process was let's make it incredibly thin and minimal, and by that we have a minimal target. Because it's not necessarily designed for aesthetics, is it? If it's this, warship to shoot the shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean that one picture we have of it from the top, it's shooting. I guess that's the phalanx system for the photons, because it's got there's 4 in the air, so that's 3 on each side being fired. The other 2 are just already off screen, I guess, because it looks like there's 6 launchers there or something. It's definitely got some cool. It's definitely got some cool weaponry. I would like to play this game though. This is kind of one of those games I always heard about, and like you, I've never seen a physical copy of it. I've seen the box cover, I've heard about it, but never actually got a chance to play it. And it's odd because we both love ship combat. So I don't know. Did anybody else out there have this game? Did it even exist?
Yeah, and they obviously had new designs. I mean, often in these games there isn't necessarily too many new Federation designs. They tend to go for other things, and this is a pretty distinct one. But I do have 2 other views, Stuart. They're both from a Star Trek Legacy mod pack thing, but they do give us slightly more perspective. So the first image is, it's the same 3/4 base pretty much as the concept. Obviously, this is limited by whatever, but we still get a little bit more of a sense of what they're going for. I'm sure this was based off the game model, and I want to see, does this thing flesh out anymore? These other views and such.
Feels less flat than I thought it did from the other one, to be honest. I mean, it looks like it's got a kind of a rear module there, which sticks up a little bit at least. Kind of like one of the pods that you'd see on the Nebula class, but just not raised as high. See, that's what they needed to do with that, is raise that back end up a bit, tilt the nacelles down a bit. I don't know, something just to change things up.
If you go back to the concept view, absolutely have a weapons pod at the back, similar to the Nebula, and then add a big secondary hull, which is a very conventional looking Enterprise E one, right where it is, but have it taper off really quickly. So you've got this big long saucer front, which is whatever it is, the big middle chunky secondary hull, and the big chunky bit to kind of give this big, strong side view.
Yeah, it's missing something from the side for sure.
But let's go to the back view. Now, I will say this is a much better view.
Yes.
At least to me. You see a lot more of what's in the ship, but I also don't necessarily understand what's in the ship.
Well, yes. Yeah, the perspective from this view makes it look a lot better of a design. It's like from the front, the last picture we looked at, it tends to lengthen the ship, and it looks quite long with very stubby nacelles. Even though if you look at the top where you have your fleet listed there, and you got just the top view, that's a pretty interesting top view. It's not too bad. It's not too
very, very Jaegerish.
Yeah. It's not too long though, but some of these other shots make it look quite long. This rear one is really nice. I actually really like that look. You can tell that's not really a pod or anything at the back. It's just the way that it angles up, kind of thing.
But I do like the Defiant style two pair of 3 glows. But I wonder what those back blue is meant to be.
It looks like it might be a open shuttle bay or something, which would be kind of neat. Because it might not be, but I mean that's kind of, it would make sense because there's nowhere else that has a shuttle bay. So right.
This is one of those designs where you really need to see more. And you really need to see more of the original concept. You need to see more of the original 3D model built. You need to see, you need to have the guy that designed it come on, and break it down. Because there's the 3/4 does in the original concept does make it look a lot better. But that view, especially if you started to pencil in all the glows and such, like you need a full color sketched concept to really flesh it out. Because there is definitely potential here, but it's odd, and it's definitely taken from the Alex Jaeger school of design, with a bit of Sovereign and Prometheus thrown in.
It's not a bad design, like I said. It's just that side view really bothers me. I would have preferred this being the First Contact fleet than the Steamrunner, or even the Norway. This seems more like that next evolution of advancement. I always thought the Steam Runner and the Norway seemed a little bit too utilitarian. They didn't fit that new aesthetic.
You mean this being the more advanced follow-up sort of thing rather than just another medium class of the fleet?
Yeah. Because the other ones just looked like they were rushed out the door without really, just to do what they needed to do, which is fine, I guess. But
so if this wasn't that battle, it could have been like the carrier, the big ship, which then the Borg cube, destroys as part of the battle. It's like, this is the last big ship we have, and then suddenly the Enterprise E comes in and saves the day.
Well, you did say it was 600 feet or 600 meters.
That's 612 meters, Stuart.
Yeah, so that's pretty substantial for size.
That's 2,000 foot, which is many times the size of a Sovereign. This is a ginormous vessel. Wow.
Okay, well, that makes a little more sense then. It would also make sense for that rear part underneath to be a hangar bay or a shuttle bay for launching. This seems more like a carrier type of deal then.
So which also puts into perspective how big the engines are. They're absolutely what you need engines. They're just small in comparison to what the ship is, which is a massive carrier. Right, okay.
And with no other ships in these shots to show perspective, I was thinking something probably along the size of a Sovereign as far as length goes.
Yeah, just
even though you read the numbers earlier, it just didn't quite sink in.
Well, I think we both thought, even though I said meters, I think we default to feet because that's what everyone measures in for Trek ships. Basically, we're saying if you designed this ship for the video game, if you worked on a video game and would like to talk to us, please do, because like I say, I've known about this for a long time. It's weird.
But it's weird in a good way. The more I'm looking at it, the more it's growing on me, honestly. I just would have loved to have had a chance to be able to play this game, honestly. Anyway, guys, let us know if you guys like this ship. Did you ever use the game? Have you ever played the game? Do you have the game? Where can I get the game? And let us know what you thought about this ship in particular down in the comment section down below. We love hearing from you guys. And as such, we would love you to subscribe to the channel so that you can join us on a regular basis. Click the notification icons to get notified when we upload. And hit that like button. All that fun stuff. Lots of great ways to help us out.
And of course, Patreon. That's a great way. Bit of financial support. Or join the channel. Bit of financial support. Or super chatting with our wonderful fan base. Also a great way. Because without you guys' financial support, we can't keep doing the free content for you all. So it's appreciated. Not required, but if enough of you do help a little bit, it mounts up really quickly.
That's right. So, until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Connor Combs. Bye, guys.
Bye.